We're back and stronger than ever. TPI Composites is bringing jobs back to Iowa, building the future of clean energy with the power of wind. Wind powers the world, and here in Iowa, it powers growth, jobs, innovation, and opportunity for generations to come. When we build here, we fuel something bigger, a cleaner future, a stronger workforce, a legacy that will last. TPI Composites. We're back, Iowa, powering the world.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Des Moines. Wells Fargo Arena, Friday, April 25th. With special guests, Beartooth and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at HiVTix.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit Shinedown.com.
Murph and Andy, proudly presented by Ramsey Subaru and BMW of Des Moines. Live and on demand across Iowa everywhere. From the Channel Seed Studios. This is Murph and Andy. Murph and Andy, connected by Cellular Advantage.
Welcome to Murph and Andy. We're glad to be with you. And speaking of the title sponsors here, Consumer Reports just released its list of best cars of 2025. That's today. And the best luxury midsize SUV is the BMW X5. The best compact SUV is the Subaru Forester. And the best subcompact SUV is the Subaru Crosstrek. Congratulations to BMW of Des Moines and Ramsey Subaru.
We are in good company.
Yeah.
Nothing but the best.
Done. All right, Andy, before we move on with what I know is a busy, stacked show full of sports and more today, I know you've watched, because I saw you on your dinner break peeking at it, this Netflix show, Belle Gibson, The Search for Instagram's Worst Con Artist. This blew my mind. Did you finish both parts?
I did. Yes, I've seen the whole thing. Yeah, I was surprised I had never heard of this before, but it was really big news in Australia.
It was.
And that doesn't always make it across the lake. I immediately texted my friend Glenn, who lives in Australia and lives in Melbourne, where a lot of this is. And he was like, how did you not know about that? He was like, it was huge news there. But, we've all got our own crazy news cycles running independently. I had not heard about this, but it's interesting. It's, basically a woman who told everybody that she had terminal brain cancer, had a malignant brain tumor, and she was very sick, and she went into these, cancer communities,
right?
That they have where, cancer patients talk to each other and kind of share their stories and give each other strength and hope and advice. And, many of them are pretty desperate, for good
Sure.
news. And so this woman starts telling everybody that she is healing herself by using all of this organic, fresh, raw food, and she's just drinking all these smoothies, and so then she starts doing recipes and books and everything, and everybody's like, and she looks good, right, the whole time. So everybody's like, wow, I mean, she's making it work. She's doing it, and everybody just starts getting. She becomes, this is what, 2014, 15.
Yeah, and it happens pretty quickly, Andy. Like, she does not have much of a following, and then on Instagram, she becomes like an Uber influencer, and she takes herself off all traditional medicine with terminal brain cancer, which is often a few months to live. And she says that she's healed herself, as you said, with these whole foods and juices, and her hair looks great, her skin
holistic
looks
practices.
great.
Yeah, right.
And then you start to see some heartbreaking testimonials from people with cancer who are following her that started to feel like, gosh, I don't live up to the way Belle Gibson looks. Like her skin still looks fine. Her hair is great. All of this. And then it just keeps going up a notch. Apple, when they launched their Apple Watch, the Whole Foods or Whole Lifestyle, whatever it was called, I think I wrote it down somewhere. Whole Pantry, maybe is what it was called.
Whole Pantry, yeah. That sounds right.
They put it on the Apple Watch as one of the things that you get when you buy an Apple Watch. It's just automatically you have that app, and then Penguin Books does a whole cookbook that becomes an overnight bestseller.
Huge seller.
And
she's traveling all around the world on
first class,
on Penguin's dime, first class, promoting this book and everything. And you know, I mean, they are good, healthy recipes. She's not, selling snake oil, but she is telling everybody that she has this horrible cancer diagnosis. And then she starts telling everybody the cancer is spread, and it's spread to her breasts and her liver
everywhere.
And her spleen and just all over her body. And yet she still looks completely normal. And it's making people think, well, I should look that good. And women are giving themselves hair extensions, and they're tanning, and they're doing all sorts of just horse shit to try to keep up with this image that this woman who is not sick, does not have cancer, is laying out there. And so some good journalists start looking into this, and they are immediately met with a huge backlash from people who say, this is yellow journalism and you're just trying to drag this woman down. You don't like the fact, you guys always do this. You have to, you can't just take somebody at their word. You have to, expect the worst.
It's the cancer shield. It's why Lance Armstrong was able to keep that lie alive for so long, because anybody who pushed back and told the truth about what he was doing got just a bunch of blowback from people who were inspired by his story, because he did really have cancer.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, some of her friends start to question her, and they don't believe her, and, asking to talk to her doctor. And she says her doctor's gone underground, and just, there's all sorts of real shady details about this.
It's a wild story.
But at the same time, people want to believe that it's true so badly that they just will not entertain any idea that she is not who she says that she is. Steve is talking about the Australian 60 Minutes does a story. 60 Minutes is so good at this, whether it's here or there. They bring her in. They pay her to come in, which that
surprised me when I heard how much they paid to get that exclusive interview.
$75,000. Yeah, that happens though. Yeah, they absolutely do this. They did. Yeah, they absolutely grilled her and just took her down. And then, everybody starts looking into her past, and they realize that not only has she done this, but she's kind of gotten into this stuff in the past when she was like in the skateboarding world.
Right. She's created different identities. It was like she's kind of in a way like the Marty Terrell of Whole Foods.
Right. Although she, unlike Marty, is never charged with a crime.
He has done his time. She has not done any time.
He was convicted. He's a convicted criminal. Right. He is a criminal.
And he has paid his price. She has never paid a price, which I checked on this today. And this Netflix series has created renewed outrage, especially in Australia, that she really hasn't been punished in any way.
Yeah, so she went right. I mean, she went to civil court, and they had a ruling against her, and she
hasn't paid any of it.
Right? What was it? 400 something?
$261,000.
Okay, $261,000, and she hadn't paid a penny of it, and basically just said right at the beginning, I'm not going to pay anything for this. And, it sounds like their laws are similar to ours. As I found out when we sued the horrible contractor, Corey, that screwed up our bathroom so bad, you don't really win when you go to civil court with somebody, because the burden of collecting on that is on you. You know, you can't take the person's house, you can't take their car, you can't take their tools if they use them for work. They can just declare bankruptcy, so you can't, you know, take their money. You really can't do anything.
It's tough.
And eventually you're just, you know, you're using good money to chase bad money. And that's what these, you know, victims really are doing with this woman, Belle Gibson, is that, you know, what are they going to spend $10,000 on a lawyer to go after this money that they know they'll never see? No, that's not going to happen. But I mean, she certainly ruined her reputation, but then, you know, it's a good reminder of a few things. I mean, first of all, you see the power of good journalism and the need for that, the need for that, because this woman would not have been exposed if it weren't for the journalism.
Yeah, the gentleman, I forget where he works there.
The Australian is it,
but he's the guy who really gets it going because his wife had cancer at the time. So I'm just really impressed with the way he went about his job. He kind of explains it. The one thing that's not made clear with a following this big as Belle Gibson had, with this lie about cancer and curing herself with whole foods and smoothies, and all the people that bought into it and bought the cookbook and all of that, were how many people who had cancer stopped taking traditional medicine because she said she did? Have some of those people died because they stopped getting chemo or stopped getting traditional medicine? It doesn't really say, and there might be a legal reason why they haven't, or maybe that's just would be speculation. But that was interesting to me too.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, this is a situation that you see over and over. I mean, you get people who are terminally ill, who are looking for hope. They're looking for anything out of the box. They're willing to entertain any idea.
Andy Kaufman, Bob Marley.
Yeah. So what happens sometimes is, you know, I mean, you know, sometimes they do pursue alternative medicines that give them some relief, but they also fall victim to these quacks, you know, that have no medical degree. They don't know what they're doing. They are out there peddling stuff that they don't really know how this stuff works, and that's not been tested by science. And they're taking advantage of these people. And, you know, this kind of stuff, you understand why people want to believe in it.
Sure.
Because first of all, it's easier to drink a lot of smoothies than go through chemotherapy. And, you know, that you understand that. It also, I mean, you want to believe in the body's ability to heal itself. And it does have great abilities to heal itself.
It does.
But when you're talking about brain cancer, you're talking about cancer to people who, you know, this is like the most feared disease in humankind.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, overall.
And it gets to all of us in some way or another.
It does. Yeah. You're if it's not you, it's somebody you love. And you know, some of the suffering is horrible, and none of it is pleasant. So, you know, these poor people, and, you know, fortunately, some of the people that they were talking to, at least like most of the people, I guess, in the documentary, seemed like they were doing pretty well. Didn't they?
It did. She had the one close friend that, man, that woman
she
did
didn't
not
have
stop
cancer
until she brought her done.
Yeah.
No, she didn't. But
she
had
pissed,
been
though.
out like
Yeah.
doing shots with her when, you know, she was pretending to have this perfect lifestyle.
Yeah, doesn't
she had
drink
seen her get
alcohol.
into a tanning bed when she was just talking about how the food had brought out her natural coloring and all this. Clearly, Belle Gibson on some level, boy, that sounds like Mel Gibson, but Belle Gibson on some level, if that is her real name.
Which kind of made it even funnier, didn't it? I think said she changed her name
several times. Right? Yeah, she's there's something wrong with her. I mean, there's something from her childhood that has scarred her.
She's still out there.
But I just realized that,
and then she resurfaced like as the face of some Ethiopian,
yes, oh, gosh,
Ethiopian relief fund or something, and she's speaking in some weird accent.
And Netflix now has a series they just released. It's called Apple Cider Vinegar, and it's a 6-part series. It's the truest story based on the lie, and it's not really disguised that it's Belle Gibson in this 6-part series about all the ways people peddle this to the public and are often successful.
I've done a shot of apple cider vinegar. Somebody was telling me how good that was for you.
Yeah, I like apple cider vinegar.
I mean, I cook with it, but I don't drink it. Do you drink apple cider vinegar straight?
Yeah.
First of all, the first thing I read about that is how horrible that is for your teeth.
You have to use a straw. Yeah, you can't.
Wait a minute, you drink apple cider vinegar with your straw with a straw?
Yeah, you don't want to.
Why do you drink that stuff?
I love.
Did you fall victim to you just like the taste of it, or you think
Belle
this
Gibson
is healthy?
I follow Belle Gibson on Instagram, and she said this will cure baldness, and it's been a couple of years now, but I hold out hope that it will happen. Let's get to the Guest House Tavern and Oyster in West Des Moines, setting the table for today's sports and more. Cyclone worries, Hawkeye worries, Murph worries. That's all coming up. Guest House Tavern, Northwoods inspired, Midwestern hospitality. Right now, high or low? Since the last show.
Presented by Wealth Charter Retirement Planning and Tax.
5 years in business right now, Tim Hawkins and company. Very busy right now doing taxes and retirement planning for everybody, but they've got time for you. Yeah, boy, all this talk about apple cider vinegar. Maybe I should start drinking that because...
Yeah, it cures everything.
Yeah, right. I injured my shoulder, and I don't know how. I think I slept on it wrong. And that is one of the things about aging that nobody told me that is turning out to be one of the worst things about aging, is that you get these injuries for no reason. Okay, you didn't do anything. At least not anything, there was no trauma.
Right. You weren't in a car accident. You just woke up and felt like your shoulder had been dislocated.
You didn't try to go work out extra hard, like push yourself past your common sense limits. You didn't help a buddy move out of his 5th floor apartment. There's just something that happened and went wrong. And then a part of your body doesn't work for a while. And you're like, what? And I can't lift my arm up over my head without a lot of pain. And I think I just slept on it wrong. And that's it. And this happens every now and then. Like you'll be walking along and your knee starts hurting. You're like, oh God, my knee hurts. And you're like, why? I didn't do anything to the knee.
You played a lot of ball. Have you had a shoulder surgery yet?
I have not. I had a really bad shoulder injury. It was this shoulder, and this one has bothered me for a long time. And this could definitely be related to it. When I was a junior in high school, I was playing center field and was diving for a ball in the outfield, and I came down on my shoulder and I broke it. I broke the collarbone in 3 places, and I separated the shoulder. It was
that's a painful
really
injury.
bad. Yeah, hurt really, really bad, really bad. That's such a God, man. Those are really painful injuries, but it all went back together and I was fine for the longest time, but I have had trouble with that. That sounds cool if I keep using that, but I think what happened is I slept with my arm in a weird position and now it's injured and you just don't have a good story for it. I need to call Belle Gibson and see one of those smoothies if I.
Yeah, Belle Gibson can heal this
rub
shoulder.
Some of that.
I now regret the shoulder surgery I had because all I needed was like some Greek yogurt.
Oh yeah, just put the yogurt in that hole.
I'm going low here too, Andy, because we leave tomorrow to go back to Arizona State to Tempe, and we're just really excited about Collins boxing debut at Fight Night University.
So what is going on here? He's in like a fraternity boxing match?
No, it's at Celebrity Theater. It's sold out, 3,000 fans.
What's Celebrity Theater?
It's in Phoenix. It's really cool theater. It's beautiful theater. And the boxing ring is set up in the middle. And under the ring, there's a fully functioning bar that serves customers on all sides. So it should be a fun night. And Colin's in the main card. He's in the main event against Wenyu. Some people call him the Black Drago.
Who's Wenyu? Is he a real
he's the guy
boxer?
Fighting. If you see here, he's got the height over
Thank
Colin.
you for that. That clears it up for me.
That's the most I can do at this point. I'm going to have more answers for you Friday, but
okay.
He's like 6'6", so he has an edge over Colin with the height and the reach. He's got more reach. Colin does have a little more power, and then Colin, decisive winner here on the swagger measure. So we're hoping that will make the difference. But
is this guy fighting a good boxer, or is he some
we're going to find
can?
out. I think, Colin's probably going to knock him out here, and we can, for those who are watching on YouTube or one of our other platforms, you see Colin working the bag here. He hasn't had has had no alcohol since November, hasn't eaten any sugar. He's taking it really seriously.
How about
he's
smoothies?
Got a trainer. Yeah, he follows Bell Gibson's
How
boxing
about apple
plan.
cider vinegar?
Probably. Supplements. Game Day Men's Health and Kelderman have both signed on as sponsors. He's wearing a Kelderman robe into the ring, very similar to the meats that Rocky wore. And I was really proud of this because I raised the kids on the Rocky movies, and I feel like this has come of that.
This is like the old county fairs where you would get a guy, everybody would pool their money together and get their buddy out in the ring to fight somebody.
Yeah.
As they came through.
So, and it's Colin's birthday this weekend. So he's fighting on his birthday weekend. He's turning 21. Got all of that going. Mm-hmm. UNAD have been supportive. People have, asked me questions. Can you stream it? Yes, you can. All of this, everybody's been supportive except one person. And that's the reason for my low, because he has been such a dick about it. Chris Hassel. Like he keeps telling people on his show that I'm putting my son in danger, that I think he put it yesterday on Two Guys, Chris and Chris. He said something about Colin potentially dying in the ring and this being on my conscience. I mean, that's too much. You can express concern about boxing or about Colin, but that's too much. He's talked about parental abuse. I mean, that's not a term to throw around lightly. I mean, Colin's a grown man at this point. I don't have to sign a waiver for him to do this. So we're going to support him. Man, Hassel better than I do. Why is he being a jerk like this?
Probably because he knows it's getting a rise out of you.
Well, he said he probably won't graduate from Arizona State after this because his brain's going to be scrambled.
I'm sorry, I'm distracted. There's a guy walking around on stilts outside.
Outside of your house?
Yeah. Well,
he's going up. He's on your street.
Working. I took a video of him here. This is what I'm talking about. He's working on the house across this. What is this guy doing?
Oh, he's getting up higher to paint.
Is he painting on those?
Yeah. Yeah. He's not doing this for recreation.
Maybe Colin should use some of those to box against the Wagyu guy. It's like, and that's another thing. His name is Wenyu. So Hassel says, when you fight Wenyu is when you could die. That's not nice. I don't need these thoughts in my head. Colin played football. I don't remember. Do you remember Hassel expressing any concern about Colin playing football? His junior year, aren't they wearing headgear and stuff?
Yeah, they're wearing headgear.
Yeah.
These are big gloves.
Yeah.
I mean, Colin lost his entire junior year.
Are they wearing the sumo
COVID.
suits, like the inflatable sumo suits?
No,
punching each other.
Andy, this is not inflatable sumo wrestling. This is a boxing match. It's the main event. We're going now. I'm going to join you. I'm going to try to join you from like a boxing practice.
Did his fraternity put him up to this? Did they like put a pool together so he's at least getting some money out of this?
He's not getting paid. It's actually the tickets to the fight, 3,000 seat arena, $40 to $60, and the fighters aren't paid.
They don't get any.
And there's a full bar. It's pretty.
So
smart
it's a bar that's putting. It's like a bar promotion. Yeah,
no, it's Fight
sense.
Night University. They go around the country and do this at various universities. It's pretty smart.
Well, you said it was an arena that has a bar under it, right? So
it does, yeah.
But the
Celebrity
bar
arena.
doesn't own the arena?
The bar doesn't own the arena would own the bar. I guess, I don't know. They put a ring in the middle and then they put the bar underneath it. I'm going to have more answers
it's okay.
Friday
yeah,
and Monday.
Right. Yeah.
But the main point here is my low is
good luck,
Hassel
Colin.
being just a jerk. He has not been. AD, have you caught some of Hassel's what he's been saying? We can't hear you, AD.
His mic isn't working.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah, got you now.
It's over the top. At first,
It's over the top.
At first, it was like, okay, he's genuinely concerned. He's gonna lay that out. That's fine. You know, he's a friend. That's cool. But he's laying it on really thick right now.
Like I'm putting my son's life in jeopardy.
He doesn't,
like it's
he
all
doesn't
your
usually do that either, does he? He doesn't lay it on too thick.
Oh, that's not hassle.
Interact with others on YouTube. Thank you, Gilly. Gilly just said he's putting $100 on Colin. I'm sure there's a black market bet you can make out there. Email Murph_Andy at iowaeverywhere.com. On X, it's Murph_Andy. It's all powered by the Cellular Advantage. 35 regional locations and proud partner with U.S. Cellular since 1993. And the 16E, the most inexpensive iPhone ever, new one, is out now for $599. Available now. Let's get the buzz.
The Buzz. Brought to you by Logier Heating and Cooling.
Logier Heating and Cooling, proudly serving Des Moines Metro for more than 115 years. Well, the buzz is just a bad Oklahoma State team beats number 9 Iowa State in front of dozens of people in Stillwater. It's a bad loss. No spin. Can't polish this turd, Andy. This is a bad loss. Oklahoma State's a bad team. Iowa State looked flat, didn't play well, took too long to get going, and TJ Otzelberger sounded concerned and fans sounded concerned, and they should.
Yeah, I haven't heard any fans trying to spin this at all. This is late in the season. This is you are coming off an impressive effort where you played way better than this without two of your best players. They're still without Keyshawn Gilbert last night, but the rest of the team didn't play nearly as well as it did in the loss at Houston. And I mean, the losses they've just kind of built up, right? So, I mean, at this point, it seems like this team has lost its groove.
Yes. They're out of sync.
Yeah. I'm trying to think exactly where that started. I feel like it was that crazy ending at Arizona. And since then, I mean, they've won some games, but it doesn't seem like they've really gathered themselves together and put it all, like they've put it all back together and fully recovered. It seems like they've been vulnerable since then.
The game at West Virginia was kind
bad.
of a blueprint for how to maybe defend or get to Iowa State. But last night, the surprise last night, it just came out flat. And I've been to Gallagher-Iba Arena a couple of times, and that place used to rock. And to see it,
it was dead.
Empty.
Yeah, it was dead. Yeah.
So sometimes that can be a problem getting going when you're used to playing in front of raucous atmospheres and you go into something that looks like no one's there. But you have to, a veteran team, you have to push through that. Iowa State was out rebounded early. The defense used to set the tone for TJ Otzelberger teams. It doesn't seem to be. Keyshawn Gilbert was still out, but he hasn't been playing that great lately anyway. Curtis Jones came back from illness, still looked like he might be getting over that a little bit. But the main thing here, Andy, is turnovers.
Yes.
It just keep turning the ball over. 18 turnovers, tied a season high. And this has been a problem at least going back the entire month where Iowa State is 4-4. And no longer looks like the team we said had the highest ceiling of any Iowa State team we had seen. This does not look like that team anymore.
No, the turnovers were infuriating. Just when they would get rolling and look like they were about to pull even or approach that point, they would have a bad turnover, a really bad possession. And then when it would go back the other way, it just seemed like Oklahoma State had no problem getting into the rim, making short jumpers in the lane. The interior defense was porous. So I don't know. I mean, we don't want to, start ringing the death bell or anything here, but how do you look at this game and think of what else has happened recently and not think, okay, this is a team that is, at risk of an early exit from the NCAA tournament. I mean, they look capable of being upset.
Yes, they do.
For no good reason other than they just didn't bring their best game.
They look tired. I mean, that may not be reality, but they do look tired. And I know last night a few Cyclone fans had a little bit of pushback of it's one game. Well, it's not one game. It's about a month's worth of games. It's been a while since Iowa State looked to everybody objective like a potential Final Four or championship team. Here's TJ Otzelberger talking to John Walters on the Iowa State postgame show about last night's bad loss.
A lot of pride in that locker room. How do you get back on track on Saturday?
Yeah, you got to have great practice, and you got to demand that what you do in practice carries over to the game, and that wasn't the case for us. Again, credit to them, but we expect more, we demand more, and we will bring more. So that won't happen again. We're going to have a great practice, great practices this week, come out and play great on Saturday.
Need to do all of that. I'm sure that TJ Otzelberger is concerned about what he saw last night. Let's get to a quickie poll presented by WCI Pools and Spas in Ames and Urbandale.
Of these choices, which is most concerning for the Cyclone men's basketball team? Is it the illness and injuries, the turnovers, that they look tired, or there's nothing to worry about here?
It's a combination, of course, but I'm strongly in turnovers. They can't go far in March if they don't get this under control.
Yeah, I don't know how you can not say turnovers at this point. I mean, it's a lot of things. It is. There's something behind the turnovers. It's, guys that aren't, maybe they don't have something better to do with the ball at the time, but they're overthinking their dribble. It does, I mean, we started the season looking like this team had so much depth they couldn't possibly keep everybody happy. And when they're playing like this, it looks like they're grasping at straws and they don't have enough people. They don't have enough. Right. But that happens when you're not playing well. The good thing is usually these Iowa State teams pull themselves together in the Big 12 tournament. Maybe this is a year where you're really glad you've got that. But I mean, we have seen how good this team can be.
Yes.
Right.
I
don't feel like we were deceived. I think that's when things hit rock bottom, is when you think, okay, all that good stuff we saw earlier in the year was a lie. That was all smoke and mirrors. I don't feel that way. I mean, I think, what we saw earlier in the season was a great team that had everything and almost too much of everything. But right now they've got too many guys that are playing well below their capacity.
Double bye in Kansas City, no longer certain at the Big 12 tournament, and the 1 and 2 seeds seem like unreachable in the NCAA tournament. Let's get some other hot topics here. Illinois leads Iowa by 7 last night in Champaign. And then in a story we know by heart at this point, Illinois pulls away in the second half, wins by 20. Iowa is assured of its first losing Big Ten season in more than 5 years, in danger of missing the Big Ten tournament. 15 of the 18 teams go to the Big Ten tournament. I was on the bubble of that now. 1-11 in quad one, 0 wins this season versus the net top 50. So this is just playing out really badly. And it's not lack of effort from the players. They just can't win these games.
Yeah, it feels like everyone is checked out of this season at this point. They're going to make the Big Ten tournament?
They need to win a game or two, maybe two. They do play Northwestern Friday night.
At Northwestern Friday.
Do you want them to make the Big Ten tournament?
Yeah, I mean, just because it's something to do, right? And I guess it's a little badge of honor. I will say though, last night was the first game of the season that I just completely didn't watch any of it. I followed it on Twitter and decided, hey, if it's close in the second half, I'll turn it on. But hey, we had to catch up on White Lotus. I had other things going on, and so it's like, you know what? I'm not gonna if it's close late, I'll turn it on and check back in. But that never materialized.
Men's basketball question for you two, for not the group, the two of you. The highest Q1 and Q2, quad one and quad two winning percentage in America is Auburn. Not surprising. 90%. Auburn has won 90% of games against quad one and quad two. Of the 330 or so teams, who do you think is second? Winning percentage against quad one and quad two.
Is it Iowa State?
No, it's Drake.
It's Drake.
Oh, geez.
Drake at 83%.
Quad one and what are their quad? They've got Vanderbilt. They've got K-State's quad two now.
Yeah. 1 and 2, 83%. Now these numbers go up and down based on how people slide, but 5 and 1 against quad one, quad two.
Yeah, Drake is 1-0 against quad one, 4-1 in quad two games.
Yeah.
How about that? That's a good stat. And don't give up on the at large.
I mean, I'm not giving up on it, but I don't. I'm not expecting it. I'm expecting to go into the tournament thinking that they need to win that tournament.
That is the way you should go into it.
It is the way you should go in because if you know, I mean, how many times has this happened before? I mean, it was just last year. Indiana State should have been in the NCAA tournament.
Caitlin Clark and Fever tickets go on sale tomorrow. Now they go on sale to donors and season ticket holders. Limit of 4 per customer. The general public can buy tickets as of Friday if they're available. Will they be available? I'm going to guess no.
No,
those are going to be gone. That's a hot ticket, man.
Can you buy, if each customer is limited to 4, and I don't know the answer to this question, are there enough donors and season ticket holders to sell 15,000? I guess there must be.
They've sold out the season the last 2 years on season tickets. So,
but that's not all 15,000 seats, is it? There's a certain amount, and then they hold back
a certain amount
some
for the other team
and students.
And students. Yeah. So,
but they're bringing in Kinnick donors too.
Oh well, then
it's gonna the public
And if you have an option to buy these tickets, even if you can't go to the game, you buy them and sell them on the secondary market for 3 times what they're worth.
And a fee per ticket is $6 per ticket. So the low level is $66 with that fee. They go up to about $256. Andy, I've seen some posts out there that you can tell how much some moms and dads and grandpas and grandmas want to get these tickets for their kids who want to see Caitlin Clark in person. I've seen posts that are like, hey, if there's any season ticket holder out there who can't go for some reason, could you buy 4? I'll pay you extra, that kind of thing. This is going to be sold out as fast as they can process.
And this just seems like such a good idea. The problem is that, I mean, how many places are now asking the Indiana Fever to come play an exhibition game at their arena?
The Globetrotters might ask.
I mean, like, there's probably an arena in Australia that wants to pay for them to all come down there and play. I mean, it is as sure a bet as you've got in sports at this time, other than the Super Bowl. And And I don't know. I mean, you feel like this could be the season in the WNBA where she just takes over, right? I mean, she took her lumps, had her growing pains in her first year, still did exceptionally well.
Got a better coach, got more talent around
better
her.
Better coach, more players.
To her skill set.
Yeah, she knows what to expect. I mean, and it would be great to say that you saw her in person that season. Especially
they could play this one at Kinnick Stadium. Remember the game the women played outside, although I would guess the WNBA would have some concerns about playing an outdoor game in a football stadium, and it is more that they're putting the game on, but yeah, the
WNBA wants this too. I mean, they would like to probably use a game like this to put it in a test market, some market they're considering expanding to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's a Swiss Army knife right now.
You just can't use Caitlin Clark as a test balloon though, because she's the outlier. I mean, she would fill any arena in this country.
Yeah, it probably doesn't give you any real science, but I mean, if you want to get a certain market talking about the WNBA.
No doubt.
That's how you do it.
That would work, yeah. Urbandale voted to not leave the CIML, not join the little Hawkeye conference. AD, you went to Urbandale. I'm sure you filled out the surveys for this. How do you feel about the decision? I expected it to be close. It was 4-3 vote, which was reflected in the surveys that were taken because they were all pretty close, but the students didn't feel the same as their parents. Some of the coaches didn't feel the same as other coaches, depending on the sport.
Once I saw there was no overwhelming majority in that survey, I thought they would probably stay. I'm disappointed. I voted the other way. I thought it was the smart move to move out of the CIML. And, I had to swallow my pride a little bit to think that way, because growing up, Urbandale was one of the bigger schools in the state and really could compete with these other schools. And the reality is that's just not the case anymore as far as size. And I've seen some people say, well, you don't lower expectations when things aren't going well. Well, that's not what this is. They're not afraid to play Valley and Dowling and the Waukee and Ankeny schools. They're a different level of school. They're half the size of these schools now and are not competing, in the regular season with these teams. So I was disappointed. I have like 4 years before I have a kid in high school, and I have a feeling by then there's a pretty good chance Urbandale will be reclassified out of the top league anyway, and this won't be a choice that is made at the school board level. But yeah, I was a little disappointed the other night when this came about.
Well, and I as we were covering this as a news story, and Urbandale sent out a survey. They surveyed everybody. Inside the school and out, and the parents came back overwhelmingly in favor of moving out of the CIML, and inside the school, they wanted to stay.
Yeah.
And honestly, and so I've heard from some people who are pissed that they didn't listen to the parents. The school board went against the parents. Well, I will tell you, as somebody in the West Des Moines school district, okay, it is not always a good idea to listen to the parents, okay? First of all, the parents often don't know what they're talking about, right? They go on their own passion, what applies to just them, just their kids, and just that little narrow window that their kids are in the school. So,
sounds like fandom.
Yeah. This is exactly what it is, right? And so you're going on passion and how it would affect your kid. And there was a move made here a while back in West Des Moines where they talked about needing to go to 2 high schools. Okay, this is before the days of Waukee splitting and Ankeny splitting. And the parents didn't want to leave. They were worried that it would hurt, among other things. The big thing was they were worried it was going to hurt Valley's success in sports. Well, now that decision looks stupid. And I hear from people all the time that bemoan that decision in this school district. And as you look at this school, which is so full that they literally can't fit a whole high school in the high school.
The ninth grade is in a
The ninth grade is at Valley Southwoods, which is a huge building. My daughter's class has 900 kids in it. This district needed a second high school a while back. They would have been fine if they had done that, as Waukee has been fine, as Ankeny has been fine, as Johnston will probably be fine when they do that. And now Valley has all of these kids out in these wealthy suburbs or these wealthy neighborhoods in West Des Moines. Those kids all go to Waukee. The Valley School District is missing out on those kids now. And the worst thing is the kids at Valley High School are not able to participate as much as they would like because it's so selective. You know, there's still only one varsity football team. There's still only one show choir. You know, I mean, they can only, you can't fit that many kids onto these rosters. It's not fair. So kids get left out. And, you know, it gets complicated, but honestly, this is honestly in the same vein as what's going
Wednesday,
on. So these
what's bugging Andy?
Yeah, these board members, these administrators, they are in ththose positions with the assignment of taking everything into consideration, not just their kids.
Soccer stadium catching some heat from the Polk County supervisors. Are we ever going to see? In my mind, this soccer stadium is not going to happen. What do you know?
I don't feel like it is either. You know, it's something that is more complicated than people realize or, you know, want to let themselves believe. This isn't the city of Des Moines saying, no, we really want a minor league soccer stadium. So we're giving all this, even though we have to make $17 million in cuts to make budget, we're going to give this. No, it's not that simple. They want to develop this very important area, you know, around the old Dyko plant, southwest of Des Moines, right off MLK, very important area. They want to develop that area, and they would like to have a centerpiece of the development, you know, basically a tenant for that development, a big one.
And all of that makes sense and sounds good, and I think everybody is all for that. But like many things,
and you're getting a ton of Krause money to do that, and would you get that with another centerpiece of that development?
It does come down to who's going to pay for all this, though, right?
Well, yeah, of course it does. I mean, and you know, the Krauses will pay the majority of it, but you know, the problem we have is that, you know, we don't want to pay for any of it. You know, we don't want to, even though, you know, the Matt Anderson will tell you the city is paying for the whole development, you know, there's a lot of stuff around the stadium. They're talking about retail and more housing, all sorts of stuff down there, outdoor spaces for other gatherings and other functions. It's going to function as more than a soccer stadium. But what I can't get past is the fact that the centerpiece is a minor league soccer stadium. I have just never had anybody come up to me or never overheard a conversation where somebody said, we got to find a way to get more minor league soccer into Des Moines. You know, if we just had a really nice soccer stadium, everything would change. I never hear about any desire, but I know Kyle Krause loves soccer.
The growth of soccer is real. We've seen
unless he's going to pay for all of it, I think it needs to be more. There needs to be more than just his personal interest in that.
Yeah, I mean, soccer has exploded in popularity among, you know, high school, middle school. And the growth is real. And even on the professional and world level, it's growing in popularity. No doubt about any of that. But all the minor league sports in Des Moines have the same problem, and it's just passion. You know, it's hard to tap into the passion that the people of Iowa have for the college teams. Doesn't mean that we don't want them or that they don't serve a purpose or that we're not proud to have them here. It's great to have. I think we've been called, isn't Des Moines considered America's #1 minor league city? It
has been, yeah. It's a great city for this kind of stuff. Yeah. But I mean, you've only got one well. I mean, you keep attaching all these pipelines to it. You know, that may be fun to say, but you're still drawing out of the same population base and the sports fan base. But, and the other thing is this is all coming at a time where you are hearing about this, what the city is going to have to cut to save $17 million or reduce its budget by $17 million because they can't raise property taxes anymore. The state won't let them. So they're talking about closing things like Birdland Pool, which is, very popular, has a lot of history, serves a neighborhood that needs it. And people, and it's very visible. People don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that you're closing something. They don't want to hear that you're going to sacrifice an is in favor of a might be. Does that make sense?
It does. It's well put. But it's time now, Andy, to play a game called Guess the Age of new Jacksonville Jaguars general manager, James Gladstone.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen the best of Trevor. I'm really excited for Liam to get a chance to work with him, support him, and really bring the tools that he has in his arsenal to life.
Guess the age.
He looks like
James
somebody's
Gladstone.
son.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
if
at the front
this
office.
guy looks too old to play, he looks too young to play a high school student on Cobra Kai. All those guys look like they're in their mid-20s. In Greece, he looks way too young to have been a high school student. You had to look at least 30 to be a high school student in Greece. So how old do you think James Gladstone, who is the general manager of the Jaguars?
I don't know. He's not in his 20s because that would be too ridiculous.
That was my thought. If he was in his 20s, there would have been a story about them hiring somebody in their 20s.
The Jags are kind of they've got a real different owner. They've really struggled, right? I mean, they've really fumbled around. 30, 35. He just looks younger.
AD, over or under 35?
Man, I'm going to go under 35.
He's 34. That was a good guess, though. That's a young-looking guy. Confluence is the official beer of Murph and Andy. Confluence, where good things come together. Oh.
I'm going to guess their patio has seen some activity this week, and certainly will on
I
Friday.
can only imagine Friday.
See John is opening that up on Friday.
I'll bet they do. All right, we got to move along to get some more.
But wait, there's more from Either Or Eatery and Patio.
Yeah, walked right into that one. Speaking of patios, Either Or's patio was open yesterday. It's probably going to be open the rest. Well, yeah, you got it.
February
Walk out the
patio,
door.
take advantage.
They do have those outdoor fire pits, so even if it does get a little chillier at night, you can still enjoy it. Friday, I think that place is going to be jumping over there. The patio at Either Or is second to none. The developer St. Joseph's Group will break ground on the 515 Walnut Tower today. Actually, apparently did at 10 a.m. this morning. Hassel hates it when I say that. At 10 a.m. today. As if 10 a.m. would mean something other than this morning. 10 a.m. today, they broke ground on the 515 Walnut Tower. As a reminder, this is a 33-story apartment tower to replace the Kaleidoscope Mall, if you know where that building is or was. The project involves 390 apartments, a dog park,
Nice.
coffee shop, along with a rooftop pool.
Got to have a coffee shop, or why even open?
The tower will open sometime in 2027. So do you think this happens? It opens sometime in 2027? This is going to work out?
Nope, but I think it could be open by 2029.
It is one of those things that I don't know if it's my, Missouri roots, the show me state. I'm going to have to see this before I believe it. I just
They put this up in China in like a month.
I hope this happens. I would
It's
like
a good
some
sign
more
they're actually
buildings
starting.
done.
A lot of these things, it feels like they never even start.
They don't even break ground.
They had
like 4 skyscrapers they were going to build in downtown a couple years ago.
They had that groundbreaking ceremony for the new Bucks Arena over at the Merle Hay Mall. That
good point.
Never went in. Drake's Board of Trustees has given President Marty Martin another 3 years. I like him.
He looks
like
really
what he's
tan
done
in
with
this
sports.
photo.
Yeah, he's a fit guy. I bet Marty Martin. First of all, it takes some stones to go by Marty when your last name is Martin.
Yeah, it does.
I don't think his name is Martin Martin. I think he adopted that as a nickname.
Marty Martin. Oh, I see. Yeah, just Martin. He becomes Marty, and then it's Marty Martin. This is not like my college roommate, Richard Richardson.
Yeah, I knew a Pete Peterson. I played hockey with a kid named Shep Shepard. But Marty Martin has done a good job at Drake. We like him. Congratulations to him. 3 more years. Hey, Billy McFarland says Firefest 2 is a go.
Good. I was looking for somewhere to spend a bunch of my money on just a load of crap, so this will fill that need.
Yeah, speaking of Netflix hits, McFarland says this new festival will happen from May 30th to June 2nd. I assume that's this year, on Isla Mujeres, which Murph, you and I have both been there a number of times. Does that place? Well, okay. First of all, it'll feature ticket packages ranging from $1,400 to $1.1 million. McFarland says this event. Hang on, let me just finish this one. Says this event will feature music, arts, cuisine, comedy, fashion, gaming, sports, and treasure hunting.
That's all.
That's it. Yeah, like
That's
anything and everything that you want to do. You've been to Isla Mujeres.
Yes.
Does that seem like the type of place where you could sell tickets to an event at $1 million a piece?
Absolutely not. One of the things I like about it is there's a more of a feeling once you get off the boat dock there of authenticity.
It's a little dirty. Yeah, it is.
Isla Mujeres.
Or a lot, yeah.
And I didn't know this was coming about, but this kind of is what tells me that somehow Belle Gibson will resurface again. I mean, I've watched all the documentaries on the Firefest because it's so fascinating that people just kept giving this guy money without any proof of anything, just because they wanted to be cool or the perception that they could be part of something cool. Remember what was it, AD? All the stupid tiles people were putting up to show that they were going to the Firefest, like it was a black tile or an orange tile or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, like on social media, you're right.
They paid all these supermodel influencers to go out on a boat, make it look like it was going to be amazing, and then people have
who was the artist that was also in on
white bread?
Ja Rule.
Ja Rule. That's it, Ja Rule. So
I saw an interview with this guy, and he's like, it's not just music. We might have a skateboarder do a presentation. We might have, and the interviewer, she's like, you keep saying we might have. Have you actually booked any of this stuff?
No.
And he's like, well, it's more about the fire experience than the specific bookings. We want to sell out before we've actually booked anything.
You should be fired if you buy a ticket to this.
Has not announced any of the music acts yet.
Oh, really?
Actually. So, from the files of some headlines don't need stories, we bring you this. Man caught trying to smuggle cocaine into airport under his wig. The BBC reports a Colombian national was caught trying to smuggle drugs under a toupee while boarding a flight from Cartagena to Amsterdam on February 20th. The wig contained 19, this is my favorite picture, contained 19 cocaine capsules. The shipment valued at more than 10,000 euros. It's about 10,500 American dollars. This is my favorite picture. The picture of him with the wig removed and just the ball of cocaine on his head. And then the picture of him with the actual wig on. Boy, how did anybody suspect he had anything under there? It looks like he has a second head.
It looks like Joe Pesci and My Cousin Vinny.
It's gee, sir, do you have anything under your hair? It's a huge stash of coke. Oh my God. Good old Colombia. And finally, what you're gonna like this one too, Murph. What was supposed to be a dream vacation to Venice, Italy, turned out to be a flight from hell for Mitchell Ring and Jennifer Collin. During their 10-hour Qatar Airlines flight from Melbourne, Australia to Venice, a woman on the plane died. According to Mitchell Ring, the crew tried reviving her but were unsuccessful. Then they tried moving her body with a wheelchair to a first-class seat. But that didn't work because she was, quote, a big woman, unquote. So the crew then began looking for empty seats on the plane, and the plane was full except for the one empty seat next to Ring and Collin. They put the woman in that seat, the window seat, pushed her up against the wall, buckled her in, and there she sat for the last 4 hours of the flight. So they had to sit next to a corpse, I guess, essentially. What?
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a mess. What do you
How many
do?
miles do they have to give you as compensation for that nightmare trip? I mean, that's nightmare fuel there.
I like
What
that
would
they were trying to put her in first class first. The people up there would have been like, I don't think she's fitting down that aisle there. Oh my God. Can you imagine? I mean, they would have to refund everybody up there.
It's terrible.
Couldn't get her down oh my God. And then she's in the window seat. Just looks, boy, that woman is really sleeping soundly over there.
Yeah.
That's the woman. That's your more, everybody.
Grimaldi's fan photos, Murph_Andy at iowaeverywhere.com is how you send them to us. Grimaldi's coal-fired brick oven pizza. Stop by the West Des Moines District at Prairie Trail, Ankeny locations. Thanks for sharing those photos with us. Each Friday, we pick a fan photo winner and send you off with a gift card to Grimaldi's. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Mr. Movie.
It's time to go to the movies with Mr. Movie, Mike Woody, presented by P&P Small Engines.
P&P Small Engines reminds you, Old Man Winter may not be done yet, but it is okay to tune up those mowers. Hi, Mike.
How are you guys?
Why are you laughing?
Because I have to follow that segment every week, and it just cracks me up.
What would you do? You and Mrs. Movie are flying on the plane, and the plan is to use the seat next to you for somebody who has died on the flight. Could you ride 4 hours like that?
You know, if there were enough free airline flights, yeah, I could probably deal with that.
Well, Chris points out at least she's not asking to get up to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, she's not going to bother you, but it would bother me.
Don't bodies like start releasing gases and stuff?
Yeah, and other things.
If you've been on a plane, gas is being released anyway. You come out of Las Vegas, your entire flight home is a tube full of farts. All right, sorry.
I don't know but dead farts are probably something else.
Out of the box topic, a movie you went to see, you weren't looking forward to it in all likelihood, or you watch maybe at home. It's usually because somebody else wants to see the movie, and you go, and usually it's about what you thought, but once in a while you get pleasantly surprised. And that's the best, because your expectations are low and you're like, oh, I saw this for somebody else, but I enjoyed it. And I'm going to go way out of the box on this, because when our kids were small, I took them to movies all the time because I love movies. And one I was dreading as much as any movie was the Lego movie. I thought, this is going to be so stupid. I can't imagine.
This is a good one.
An interesting movie being made about Legos, and our kids love Legos. They could play with Legos for hours. And I went, and I was stunned how entertaining it was. It was funny. It had a good plot. Chris Pratt, Will Ferrell, and especially Will Arnett as Batman were just great voices, did great voice work in this. And I liked it. I liked the Lego movie, so that's my choice.
That's a good choice.
It's a good movie.
One of the better, Andrew can attest, one of the better movies to get stuck watching with your kids. Yeah.
Yeah,
Parents
for sure.
keep a set of those rankings with them at all times. Okay, so this is going. I'm glad we got this one. This is a funny story. So back to high school, and my friend Chris has his older brother, his stepbrother, Craig. Real nice guy, not real bright. We were in high school and he was like out of college, or
He's not watching.
I don't think he went to college. He mowed lawns and he lived over the garage of one of my other friend's dad's like maintenance shed. And so, but Craig, he would buy us beer. And he was a nice guy. We all thought he was really cool at the time, because he's older and he'd have chicks over to his place and everything. And really thought he had a killer mullet. And so anyway, Craig, he was a real nice guy, still is. But like we had to be extra nice to him because we were always asking him to buy beer for us. So you can't, suddenly not, be too cool for him or anything. So we go over to his place and he's got us some beer and we want to leave, but he's like, "Hey, come on in, man. Let's sit down and I got a movie. We can all watch the movie." And he's got another one of his buddies with him and stuff. And we're like, "What's the movie?" And he goes, "Roadhouse." And we're like, "What?" Roadhouse. And he goes, "It's called Patrick Swayze kicking the shit out of everybody." And we're like, "Patrick Swayze?" We knew he was like a ballet dancer, and he was not. I mean, he was in movies that we had seen, but he was never a badass.
Small guy.
Yeah, not a big dude. We were like, "What?" We were like, "Okay, this," and I was like, "This movie is going to be so dumb, but I'm gonna have to sit and watch it because Craig wants us to."
Mr. Movie's giving it and it was so dumb.
Yeah, but we watched it and we were like, "Man, this is great. We love this movie." And I will forever be thankful to Craig for making us watch Roadhouse.
And for buying beer.
Yeah, and for the beer.
Minors.
We probably had some of the beers while we were watching Roadhouse.
Roadhouse, one of my favorite B movies of all time. And the remake is nowhere near what the original is. Yeah. Mr. Movie, what do you have?
All right. Now, I suggested the topic because I had this experience this week. Now, I get online from studios all the time. Here's a new movie we got coming out.
We get it. You're Mr. Movie. I understand.
I rarely, if ever, watch them. Probably because I can't figure out how to stream them on the TV, but that
I believe.
That could be a problem. So this movie comes out, and I've seen clips for it, and it's a comedy with two women, and I think they're in the military. It's called My Dead Friend Zoe, and it's these two women, Morgan Freeman, Ed Harris, and those two guys really make the movie much better, and it's a really good movie to begin with. There's something going on between the two women. I'm not going to tell you because I didn't see it coming. And after you see it coming, you're like, "Oh, yeah, I should have seen that coming." But it's these two women who have been in the military together, and now they're back from the military. They're dealing with trauma that happened over there and that kind of stuff. It is just a really well-made movie. Then Morgan Freeman comes in. He's leading one of the groups of them trying to help these women with their problem. I sat there and Sue wasn't, because I was on the earplugs because we can't stream it. So she keeps saying, "Well, is it a good movie or is it just really stupid?" And I'm like, "No, it's really, really good."
She's like, "Boy, if you could learn the technology where we could both watch this would be great."
Yeah, I know. And if my son's watching, then I'm going to get a text, "Dad, You're such an idiot." Yeah, whatever. So it's a really good movie. It opens this weekend, this Friday. I think it's at the Fleur and out at the Palms.
It sounds good to me. And
it's an A-. It's really well done.
It seems like it's a bad title. I would guess that the title works once you've seen the movie, but it does. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it does. It works.
How is it, drama or a comedy or what is it?
Can we call it a dramedy?
We'll call it a dramedy.
That's really what it is. I mean, it's got moments of really a lot of fun, and then it's got some moments that are pretty tough.
That's the best combination in movies. The dramedy.
It really is.
Grief can be a funny thing, is what it says on the poster. And you had me at Ed Harris and Morgan Freeman, so I will go see that. AD, what do you have for something you were dreading that or didn't know about and then loved?
Yeah, back in the day before we had kids, we would just like go to the movies, right? You on a random night, you just, hey, let's go see a movie.
Back before we had kids.
Yeah, those were the days. It was also like early social media. I mean, social media and YouTube existed, but it wasn't as prevalent as it is now, where like you kind of know everything ahead of time. You've seen trailers. All I knew was that Ben Affleck was in a movie with a weird name, and that movie was Argo. And I knew nothing about this movie, and I knew almost nothing about the story, even when I did realize what the movie was about when we went into it. It's one of the few times I've gone into a movie knowing absolutely nothing, and I was blown away. Obviously, it won Best Picture that year. It's a fantastic movie. It's one I still watch and have seen several times and love. But that was that great experience of I have no idea what to expect, and you walk out with a movie that you love.
This movie is one of the great runs of just crawl out of your skin suspense.
Oh yeah.
Right? Where you're dying. Like the minutes are just ticking by and taking forever because you're so concerned about what's going on.
And if you know the real story, going into it, it's probably not that suspenseful because you know how it ends, but when you have no idea what's going on, you're right. Those last like 25 minutes when they're at the airport and being questioned and, being chased down the runway, it's really incredible.
And that was all apparently movie license too. The getaway wasn't actually tense, but the way it's on the screen, it makes it great. And Alan Arkin uses the word Argo in the best way over and over and over again. All right, Mr. Movie, let's get a review of The Monkey.
Ooh, okay. Osgood Perkins is a director who last year did a movie called Long Legs, which was one of the better movies I saw last year. And it is so creepy and so dark. You hesitate to even recommend it. But he fell into the trap, the Stephen King adaptation trap that many directors have fallen into and have just failed miserably. This was a Stephen King short story. I remember reading it. I don't remember a whole lot of the specifics, but I know there was this monkey that could kill people, and it was one of those monkeys with the symbols. This movie starts out well, and it just goes downhill so fast. It's like you start looking at your watch at about 30 minutes. Fortunately, it's only an hour and a half long, but it's painful, and it's gory and gross, but it's not scary. And it's just, I don't know. Didn't like it at all.
A good out of the box topic some week would be the worst Stephen King adaptation, because for me,
there's a bunch to choose from there.
Yeah, Maximum Overdrive is what comes to mind for me right away.
I don't remember the ones that didn't work. There are a lot of them. You remember there's so many that did work.
Yeah, Misery,
the Lawnmower
Stand
Man,
By Me.
Wasn't that one? Yeah.
I never saw that. Shawshank Redemption, of course, is a King short story. There were some really good ones, and Christine did
That's
of work.
a book. Yeah, that's a full book.
Yeah. It
didn't work that great. Cujo wasn't great.
No, Cujo was.
Pet Sematary was okay.
So the grade for this is.
Pardon? The grade is a C. It's just, don't expect much.
Weekend box office, Captain America's mostly gotten attention for how badly it's tanked. I mean, considering the budget and expectations, it did win the box office again, but it looks like that franchise may not be green lighted anytime soon to keep going.
Yeah, and you know what? It wasn't a bad movie. I mean, it's just it's a lot better than some of the other Marvel movies I've seen recently.
Maybe people are marveled out. Next week, this Last Breath with Woody Harrelson looks promising to me. It's based on a true story. It's a rescue at sea, which sometimes can make for a really dramatic and good movie. Have you heard anything yet?
I have not heard anything. the trailer looks great.
It does.
The only thing I was thinking is, wasn't Liam Neeson available? Because this is perfect Liam Neeson territory.
Man,
he just comes in and saves everybody.
Can't use him for everything.
Yeah. And he's probably 70.
Yes.
I mean, how many rescues at sea can he do at this point?
It's on his last tour. So, and then there's a movie called Riff Raff with Ed Harris, Bill Murray, and Jennifer Coolidge. The poster
cast.
The poster looks horrible. I don't know.
The poster looks horrible.
Look at it.
Is that Pete Davidson in the middle holding the gun?
Yeah.
Ed Harris again, Bill Murray, and
Pete Davidson still owes me money from Dogman. So maybe I'll go and see if he's in the theater.
Riff Raff. Well, I'm interested to know. You got to check it out. I got to know if it's worth it, because that's a good cast.
Okay, now take the boys to go see My Dead Friend Zoe.
My Dead Friend Zoe. And I'm telling you, that title is going to be a tough sell, but we'll take your word for that.
Tell him Coach Woody said it's okay.
Okay, I'll do that. All right. Enjoy the movies, Mr. Movie.
All right, guys. Good to see you.
Good to see you, too. That's Mr. Movie presented by P&P Small Engines. Time for a quick round of Throwdowns.
Throwdowns. It's Throwdowns. Backed by Heartland Tire and Auto.
Heartland Tire and Auto, treating you like family in Ankeny, Waukee, Knoxville, Boone, and Creston. Andy, Iowa State is 10th in the net rankings with a few tough games left. Drake will be the favorite to win the Missouri Valley tournament with an outside chance in an at-large bid. Which are you more sure is going to happen? Iowa State will get a top 3 seed, or Drake will make the tournament?
Jeez. I feel like, boy, I think I'll go with Iowa State, honestly, a late rally and get a top 3 seed. I don't know. I mean, I know how Darren DeVries' teams played at Arch Madness. Don't know about Ben McCollum.
I'll go with Drake getting an at-large. I think there's something wrong with Iowa State right now that can be fixed, but I think it's going to be a challenge to get it fixed in time. I would think that Iowa State will do well at the Big 12 tournament, always do or always seem to, but we know that doesn't factor a lot into the seeding. So I think I think Drake is in better position for an at-large than a lot of people think, because of that 83% winning percentage against the quad 1 and quad 2 games. They can keep winning. I don't think they have to win the Missouri Valley Conference tournament, but if I were the Bulldogs, that's the way I would treat that tournament.
Murph, baseball's ABS challenge system is in place during spring training, where players can challenge a ball and strike call. We've seen this in action at the Iowa Cubs. Would you like to see this fully implemented in MLB?
I would, because it's proven a couple of things, but one of them is that the pitchers especially, but also the batters, often think something is a strike or a ball when it's not. They have bad judgment in the heat of the moment because of the emotion involved. And the way it works in the minor leagues, you get 2 challenges, and as long as you're successful, you still get the 2, but you get 2 misses, you may not have that challenge in the 9th inning. It's pretty quick, and I think it adds an element to baseball that's kind of interesting at a time where people are not hitting the ball and the average is as low as it's been in the history of the live ball era. We need something to keep people interested. I think this might help a little bit.
Yeah. I'm kind of interested in to just see how it works. It doesn't seem like it's made a whole lot of waves at the minor league level. It seems like it's been okay, but I would just kind of see if this improves things. Baseball needs to keep working on improving itself.
Yeah, it does. Andy, does water have a flavor?
Great question.
Sometimes, I mean, the water at my Aunt Dora's house tasted like you were licking an iron pump. I don't know. Other than that, though, no, it's just really devoid of flavor and clean.
Sulfur water tastes like rotten eggs, but
yeah.
tap water in most places, no flavor.
Yeah, if it's my water, it doesn't taste like anything. When I go to Wisconsin, that water tastes. It has a flavor.
Like sewage water.
Well water tastes like well water.
Ooh,
no
yeah,
doubt.
it does.
Well, they put fat in Wisconsin water though, so.
Right. Yep.
They do not.
They put some milk fat in there.
It's time for the Andrew Downs audio drop of the day. We call it the AD Squared.
We do, and it's powered by Game Day Men's Health. I'm headed to the Ankeny location in the Prairie Trail neighborhood tomorrow, as I do every Thursday, to get my testosterone booster shot. You can go to West Des Moines out on University or North Liberty on the eastern side of the state, and I know they're a sponsor of Colin Murphy in his big fight on Saturday. Is it Friday or Saturday, Murph?
Saturday nights.
Saturday night. So we'll talk more about that as we move forward. From one Murphy son to another, Cade Murphy is the producer of Overthinking here on Iowa Everywhere. Every Monday at noon leads into our show with Scott Sipker and Mackenzie Eady. Like that show. A topic on that show was stories that you never told your parents. And Cade, as their producer, chimed in first with a story he's never told our friend Murph.
Small one. It's kind of crazy, but I don't know. We have like an ongoing joke in our family that I just get into like sitcom situations compared to the rest of them. And this is probably one of them. I was in high school and I had a curfew, and there was this girl that I worked with, and she wasn't allowed to have like guys over after a certain hour, and we were just hanging out because I just met her and stuff. Like, it wasn't anything crazy. Don't worry. But yeah, she wasn't supposed to have people over. And anyways, we're hanging out talking in her room, and her mom like bursts through the door, and I'm having like a panic attack, dude. And she's like yelling at her, but she's not making any eye contact with me. And it turns out her mom was blind, dude. And I like, oh God. It was like the craziest, it was like the craziest thing that's ever happened to me. I don't know. It was like the luckiest I've ever been, probably.
Well, what was she yelling at her about?
I don't know. Just she forgot to do something. I don't know. But like, I was confused at first because she like burst the door open, and she like had, like the finger pointing that parents do. Like, she did that immediately at her, but she made no eye contact with me. So I was like looking around like this. I was like, am I dead? Like, and nah, she was just super blind. So
super blind, man. She's just super blind.
That's an incredible story.
That is so funny. Oh my God, on so many levels.
And I think I'm going to come to regret having access to some of these revelations on Overthinking.
That could have been, that could have been a lot worse for you, Murph. And just knowing that it happened to Cade too. He's
right. He is in these sitcom situations all the time.
Oh my God.
That is
and she wasn't yelling about him being there.
No. Apparently,
didn't know he was there.
Never knew he was.
But at first, of course, he thinks, "Oh my God, she's not supposed to have
and aren't you just
over.
blind? You're not
over.
super blind."
Yeah, she was super blind.
She was super blind. Quickie Bowl results presented by WCI Pools and Spas.
Of these choices, which is most concerning for the Cyclone men's basketball team? Illness and injuries, turnovers, they look tired, or no worries. 47% say turnovers. 29% say they look tired, and 18% are going to go with illness and injuries. 6% say they have no worries.
That's 6% of glass half full right there. Well, thank you for being part of Murph and Andy here on Iowa Everywhere. We appreciate you joining us. Please like and subscribe, and we're back Friday. We hope you are too. I'll be back Friday from, I'll be in Tempe, so I'll be down there. I'm going to get more information for you on this big fight, Andy. I'll have all the answers come Friday.